I made a mistake at my AI agency that cost me $14,000. And whether you know it or not, you're probably making the exact same mistake right now. In this video, I'm going to share my story and show you exactly how to avoid this forever. Let me take you back from when I was transitioning from the world of software development to freelancing and running my own AI agency. If you're currently in a 9 to 5 or you are new to the AI space and trying to figure out how to build something real, you're in the exact same position I was. And here's what nobody tells you. Signing clients is hard. I mean, really hard. Those first few months, I was doing everything. Cold outreach, refining my offer, tweaking my website, learning marketing and sales on the fly while also coding. I was getting objections and rejections every day. It felt like I was screaming into the void. But then, finally, I got a lead. A big lead. Not some small local businesses. A legitimate big client. Real money on the table. We had calls, I sent proposals, back and forth for weeks, and then finally they agreed and say yes. I will never forget that moment. The rush, the validation, the happiness. I remember sitting there thinking, holy shit, I actually did it. This is real. I signed the contract, I felt like I'd made it. But I didn't know I had just signed up for months of unpaid work that would come straight out of my own pocket. So here's what happened. I delivered the project, they didn't like parts of it, so I made changes. And then they wanted more changes and more. Every time it was the same pattern. Just make this tweak and then we'll pay you. So I'd make the tweak. Actually, can you adjust this other little thing? Meanwhile, I had to pay my developer out of my pocket and cover all the other costs. I was bleeding money and time on a project I thought was already closed. And when I sensed that it won't go well from here, I finally said, look, I can't keep doing this for free. Just release part of the payment for the work you accepted and then we'll work on the other part. They said, no, we're not paying anything. And let me be clear here. These weren't bad people, but they were a big company. And big companies, they have legal teams, they have leverage, they know how to protect themselves. And I, young, hungry, new to this world, desperate to prove myself, didn't. I had signed a contract that didn't protect me. And it totally destroyed me. My business wasn't mature at this point, so it hurt me so much I spent months making this money back and I had to ask my friend to help me out. So here's the lesson I'm sharing with you today. You need to protect yourselves with contracts that are fair, clear and actually get you paid. Because here's the truth nobody talks about. When money is on the table, there are people out there who will take advantage of beginners if you don't know how to protect yourself. I've talked to other agency owners since then. I've heard the same story over and over. They did months of work, they kept asking for changes and never got paid. And it's not just me, it's a pattern I notice. And if you don't know how to protect yourself, you're next. So let me show you exactly how to avoid this. I'm going to walk you through the actual contract structure I use now. This is the template that would have saved me $14,000 and months of my life. Alright, so let me walk you through this contract step by step so you understand how it's structured, and then you will be able to grab the exact same template from the link in the description below totally for free. All the parts where it's put in yellow, it's for you to fill in. So you put in the date, the service provider name, which is your AI agency name, your client's company name and client's address. So you fill in all the details. It's basic introduction. Now please take a look at this part. This is super important and I put it in bold because it adds the transparency. So it says, by signing this agreement, the client represents that it has read, understands and agrees to the terms of this agreement. The client further represents that it has the authority to enter into the agreement and to bind the entity it represents to its terms. And I added this, so one thing, there is always the authority, so he's always the authority and the decision maker that actually can sign the deal with you. And secondly, it just gives a lot of transparency because you clearly state, hey, you admit that you read the contract and you agree with everything in here. It's clearly stated in bold, note in some small writing somewhere in the footer. Scope of work is something that I spent a lot of time on because it's really important how you want to structure your projects. Usually for bigger projects, you want to do milestone-based payments. So after you do a part of work that you agree on with your client, he releases the payment. So you get paid and you can continue the development. You can pay your developers and you get you have the cash flow, and they are happy because they can see the progress. It's really good just to inform them on the progress you're making and for them to see that you're actually working on the project. It's also super important you keep in touch with the client because in the end, the relationship is what will benefit you long term, and you always want to take the best care of your clients. This is basic introduction, and then you have the service categories. And I added example for you here that you can write yourself or use ChatGPT to write it for you. But if you use AI for it, obviously be very careful and detailed. So go through it and make sure it actually fits what you will be doing for the client. So we put a brief description here of the categories of your services, and then you give more detailed description of what will the solution happen. So for example, the service includes the creation of intelligent conversational agent chatbot that will conduct a conversation with the user in Polish to gather housing preferences, blah 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 blah. So yeah, you can use this example and basically describe so the client understands, okay, this is exactly what I need. You want to always make sure that you are on the same page with your client and you have both the same expectations and goals for the project. Misaligned, you're gonna pay the price I paid, and I don't want you to do that. So there is this part where you basically list down everything you will do for this project. It's like bigger components of the project. So you describe what will the backend do, what will the frontend do, and basically all the modules, the integrations, the APIs that you will be using, basically a functional description, breakdown of the project, but it's like general deliverables which are important for the client. And then you'll come to more detailed breakdown. So then we're coming to project schedule. It's really important you keep the project on the with the dates and timelines you agreed on with your client. And so you have like a start date, so when you're starting the project, and then you have the milestones breakdown. So essentially what you want to do always is take a prepayment for the client. We usually take 40% of the price for the entire project at the beginning, just before we start everything, right after signing the contract. It's a prepayment to make sure the client is invested, he's not gonna back down, and you get paid for the work that you do up to milestone 1. You always want to structure it in a way, the percentages may be different, but you always want to structure it in a way that prepayment covers at least the cost of the development and your margin for what you build up to milestone 1. So sometimes we just write a prepayment here, or we use it as a milestone, which is a prepayment basically, and we just say like to start the project. So you can structure it your way. That's why you have like milestone 1 and milestone N. And essentially, what is it? You can have a lot of milestones in projects. If you have smaller projects, maybe you don't even need those milestones, but I highly recommend using them, even if there are super small ones as 2-week project, like so just separate it into 2 milestones. And then you just have the breakdown into the milestone, because if you have like a huge project to build for a client, which will take you months, you want to break it down to more milestones. You want to be clear about the milestones and the dates that you are actually able to deliver, and always set the date a little bit later, because it's better to under-promise and over-deliver. This is the rule you always have to keep in mind. Always over-promise. You always want to over-deliver what you promised. So keep the client real with the timelines when you will actually be able to ship certain features. So you put in the start date, and here you put the completion date for milestone 1. Always add some time just to make sure you have time to properly test it and to build it out properly. Like, trust me, your client will appreciate both the clarity and the if you ship something too fast and then they will see it's not working, you're gonna lose the trust you built with the client to this point, and you will have to fix it. And it will always be somewhere in their mind that you made a mistake. We want to avoid mistakes as much as possible. They are gonna happen, but you want to avoid them. That's why you have this contract. So then you have like a detailed description of the milestone. So what will the client expect for this milestone to be delivered? And then there are the acceptance criteria, which basically means what client can exactly go into the app and test, or you can send it or show a demo, send a Loom video, but basically what are the exact features that if are not working, the milestone is failed and you failed. So these are the exact criteria you have to meet in order for the milestone to be accepted and move to the next one. And then we have it repeated for a lot of milestones, as I said. Then we have just a short note that changes to scope have to be agreed upon both parties, and they have to be attached as an attachment to this document. And you always want to do the paperwork for that. Trust me on this one. It may seem like irrelevant, but it's extremely relevant, because often the clients come to you and they don't know the software. You are the engineer here, you are the business owner, you have to know what you're doing. They just want their problem solved. So they will tell you the problem that you need to solve for them, and it's your role to actually solve this problem. And if they will, and I had the situations when client just came and they wanted one more feature or this feature or changes to this or changes to that. It will kill your project, it will kill how you plan your project, it will kill your budget, and trust me, like, you have to have this one. Like, you literally have to have this one, because it protects you. And if your client wants to, any changes to the scope of the project, what you do is say, okay, we can do that. We can do it under those terms, and this is how much more you're gonna pay for it, because it's more work for you. So you need to charge it for you need to charge him for that. And often then they will just back off and say, okay, let's stick with the MVP first. But it's just as I know, clients often want a lot, and it's your role to show them the way of how to get started with the project, how to test it, and then how to develop and build it further as an AI transformation partner, and build a long-lasting relationship with them and help them build the project in the direction they want. But firstly, start with a small project, over-deliver on it and build the trust, and try to minimize the amount of features that they want. All right. So then the compensation and payment terms, the part that will make you happy, because you will get paid. And as you can see, there's an advance payment here. So how much they pay you in advance, and then the payments for the milestones. And this is the clause that I added with the after not getting paid, basically invoicing and payments. The service provider will issue an invoice upon the completion of each milestone. The client agrees to pay the invoice within numbered days of its receipt. So you want to put a number here. I put a placeholder here on purpose, because it really depends on the client you're working with. It's a small company, bigger milestone, smaller milestone. So it really depends. Usually I put in like 7 days here, and it's okay. But I was working with a bigger company which needed 14 days for that, and I agreed on it, and it was also okay, as long as you put it this clause here and then this clause, which is late payments. Amounts not paid by the due date are subject to an interest rate, at a rate of 1.5% per month on the outstanding amount. It's basically to incentivize the client to pay you, because if they don't, they will have to pay more over time, and you will win in court and they will have to pay more, so they want to avoid this pain. It didn't come to that, but yeah, this contract just protects you so well that hopefully you have to never use this clause and it never happens. But you know, like you work with businesses and sometimes they may run into some issues and they may be late on payment. Always try to be human and try to resolve it with them. But if you must use it, there is in the contract that they sign. So then we go to the more boring part. It's basically, I'm not going to read it out everything for you. You will have the link in the description to use the same template. But basically, it's that you are obligated to keep the secrets. They are obligated to keep their secrets. And basically, you work under some non-disclosure agreement. And you basically protect your best interest and their best interest as they are your client, and it's in your best interest to protect them. And then intellectual property. This is a big one because almost in 100% of the cases, the clients will want to own 100% of the IP rights of the project you built, because you build it for them and they want all the IP rights transferred for them. What does it mean? It means that all the software, everything you produce, get transferred to them so they can later use it and monetize on it. Because in the end, you're working with B2B businesses and their goal is to make money on your solution. So they want to own it, and you're here just as a contractor that will build it with them, but transfers the right to them. So if they want to sell it, they can sell it without your consent, and you're basically giving all the rights to them. And again, this part really may be like, it works for most of the cases, like I'd say 99% of the cases. Sometimes if you build some projects that you take equity in, and you build it for a client, but you share revenue, you always want to also put it in writing. And then you basically preserve the rights or part of the rights. So then you need to contact either ChatGPT or your lawyer. If you're starting out, I assume it will be ChatGPT. You can do it with good prompting. But it's not a legal advice. So just a disclaimer. But I know what we all do. So, anyway, yeah, I think I stated everything about this. Then are the client obligations, which I'm again not gonna read, but you need to put clear obligation on the client, what they are supposed to do. Often clients need to give you some access to their CRMs, databases, systems they use, knowledge sources, company documents, all the things that they have to provide. It needs to be stated here. So we state here that they need to cooperate and help us and provide all the resources necessary for the development, for us to work. And basically, unless they do that, we can't do anything, and we are protected if they decline for you the essential. If they decline to give you access to essential part of the system, then you are protected because you can't do your work. So this is quite important, and that all the costs that are associated with building this apps automations for your clients, often you have to connect a lot of APIs, and and each API will cost some cents, dollars, depends what you're using. So it's also on the client to cover the costs for it. You don't want to pay for their usage out of your own pocket. So this is really important. Non-solicitation of employees. So it's basically that they won't steal your employees, you won't steal them. Basically, you're working on good terms and you're not poaching your employees to work for you. Limitation of liability. This clause again is put on bold because it's super important. And while it may be a little bit controversial, if you have a client with good intentions, they will have no issue signing it. Trust me. Let me read it out for you. Indirect damages. To the fullest extent permitted by law, the service provider shall not be liable to the client for any indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or punitive damages, including loss of profits, data, revenue, or goodwill, arising in connection with the agreement of the services. Because the thing is, your role is to protect data, clients' data, and work in clients' best interest. But the thing is that, let's say you build a chatbot for a client, for example, for his website, simple chatbot. and there's some sneaky guy on the other side of the internet, and he's gonna use it's AI under the hood. So he's gonna basically break the AI and tell him some illegal stuff using the chatbot company website. And trust me, there were like examples like this with big companies where people did it on purpose. Some bad actors. So then they can basically sue you because it was the chatbot that you built and you lost company reputation, data or anything else. And you want to be protected against it because in the end, under the hood, there is Gen AI and you need to protect it to your best interests. But even OpenAI, there are ways to break ChatGPT to tell you bad things. So if engineers at OpenAI can't fully protect ChatGPT from doing so, you need to protect yourself because under the hood you will be using, for example, OpenAI, Anthropic, or other model providers. So this is super important. So read it and always include it, like always. It has to be in the contract, trust me. So this is basically further establishing the relationship between you and the client. What are his and your obligations. Then is the relationship of the parties, so that you are independent contractors. So it means that you are not in any part of employment, like you are not their employee. They don't have to like. You have to take care of your own taxes, etc., etc. And this section explains the event beyond a party's reasonable control, which could not have been foreseen or prevented, including but not limited to natural disasters, acts of war, riots, strikes, and infrastructure failures. And you may think, okay, it's too much, it's not gonna ever happen. Well, look, the contract's here to protect you and use it to your advantage and use it to client's advantage. If something happens on the client side, which you could not have anticipated, this is life. Like if something bad happened to your client, I don't know, his or her wife dies or something, like, I don't know to make up bad scenarios, but shit happens. And you want to be protected against all this stuff, because if something really bad happened and you can't work, let's say you break your legs, hands or whatever, you are in the accident and then the timeline may slip. So obviously, most of the clients, if not all of them, are going to be human. They're going to understand you're going to postpone the project, terminate the contract, like do anything. But you need to protect yourself just in case if some issues happen on the way. So it protects both your client and yourself, to be fair, because not only you may get hurt, but also something bad could happen to your client during the contract. And so then we have like dispute resolution. So in case you have a dispute with your client, so you don't agree on something and you can't come to the agreement, which you usually do, because usually you just can't come to agreement with your client by just talking. But if you can't, you just state some place of mediation and basically arbitration institution. So you go someplace or meet online and you have someone in between who's trying to negotiate the terms of your contract. It's useful for bigger projects because if you can do it all without the court, it will save you a lot of money, because if you will have to go to court with it, it will take probably years. You often work with clients from all over the world, so this will come in the next clause, but it's just gonna take years and a lot of money to hire lawyers. If you're, for example, if I work from Poland and I work for a client with client in the US, then and let's say our governing law, which is coming here, is like usually it's Poland, just to protect myself. But sometimes we choose some neutral place like France or England, then it will cost both of us a lot of money to find lawyers there, then know the law, meet with them. It's just bullshit that you don't want to deal with. You want to grow a business, not waste time doing the lawsuits or all this other bullshit. So always protect yourself, and this is why we have the governing law. And here you want to there are two ways to do it. Either you just put your country as the jurisdiction and then you have the advantage of basically being here and know the lawyers here, know the law, or you choose the client's jurisdiction, and here's the advantage. So the fair direction to go here is just choose some neutral place, which has good, clear. You probably won't have to use it, but if it comes down to this, just do something neutral, fair for you and for your clients. There are the amendments, counterparts, assignments, severability, entire agreement. So this is like just a few parts that you can go through even by yourself. This is like few clauses, few legal clauses that you can go by yourself, and then like this entire agreement. So this is the entire agreement. So your client can't, or you can't put anything else in there without your knowledge. Then there's the waiver and the headings, and then you sign the document. So this is everything, guys. It was a brief walkthrough through it was a big walk. It was a brief walkthrough through the contract, but as I said, just go to the description and get the link for yourself, and feel free to adjust it in any way. Make sure you change the placeholders, and make sure you change my logo. Just don't do this. Like, why would you do this, right? Okay. That's everything for this walkthrough. Look, I know contracts feel intimidating. I know it feels too corporate or too demanding when you're just trying to land your first few clients. And I know better than anyone that nobody likes doing the legal work. But here's what I learned the hard way. The clients who respect you will appreciate the clarity, and the clients who push back on fair terms, these are the ones who are going to screw you anyway. This contract is your filter. It protects you, it sets expectations, and it keeps you out of unpaid work. And here's what I'm going to do for you. If you want this exact contract template, just click the link in the description and grab it totally for free. See you in the next one.